All right, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. We're starting with the Nasdaq here, and as you can see, our clear supports around the 18,000 marker here on NQ. You continue to bounce, and basically you've been stuck in an overall range since beginning of February, give or take. We have not moved, and you can see we come down to our support and buyers react every single time. The other important factor here when we look at all these major drops, you know what the common denominator is every single drop that we've had? It's this idea that we're not going to get rate cuts in the summer or at all this year. And then guess what happens? It happens for like an hour, 2 hours, and then we bounce, and then everyone realizes the market is still in fact bullish. Again, if you ever need help to understand if the market's bullish or bearish, a simple fact, something you learn very, very early on in trading is higher highs and higher lows. And you've made higher highs and higher lows for, a solid year. So congratulations. If you're bearish, best of luck to you, brother. But yeah, as you can see, Qs are trying to break back out. Qs need to get back above the 447.5 level. Above that level, you're breaking out. As you can see here as well, volume is getting a nice little increase here into the day. Probably some of the better volume that we've had, pushing back in that level. But we have a clear supply zone up here as well. So it's not going to be easy, right? Just like we bounce off support, we've been getting rejected consistently off this level as well. You have to identify that you are still trading in a clear-cut range. You go to the S&P, as you look here, not as good as NQ on the day, but again, we'll go into why NQ is bouncing, but you can still see you're bouncing out of those demand zones also. If you're interested in our indicators here as well, and getting these for yourself, the volume, the supply and demand levels, things like that, the link is down below for Lux Algo. Use code OD40, all caps OD40, and you get 40% off your first purchase, just to let you know. But also too, let's go into what's happening here. Now, yesterday we had CPI, and everyone was like, guys, CPI is bad. It's rising. This is horrendous. The market's never going to recover. We should never cut rates. This is so bad. Oh no. Well, if we look, and I tweeted, this is my Twitter. The Twitter link's down below. You can check us out. My comment was medical care, energy, electricity, and transportation. Though that's what's rising on our inflation chart. Okay. It's based on CPI. And if you look at those simple facts, you look at that simply, those things aren't affected for the majority by rates, interest rates, right? They're not. It's just a fact. Is transportation? No. Medical care? No. Used cars? Dropping. Car sales? Dropping. Home sales have slowed down dramatically. Even food, whether you want to admit it or not, up here, food has dropped. Food away from home, again, that is not based on inflation right there. This number, food away from home, is not a direct inflation number. Let me paint this simply to you. For some of you that like to delusionally imagine that food away from home is depicted as inflation. If I have a business, okay, and I charge $10 for a hamburger, okay, and normally everyone charges $8, right? But I charge $10 for my magical hamburger. If every day I sell all my hamburgers and someone says, Tyler, inflation's coming down, maybe we should drop the price of that burger. Would I drop the price of my burger even though I'm selling out of my burger every day? Well, that's what's happening with food away from home. If everyone's still paying for those items, then the price is not being affected by interest rates. It's being affected by the overall demand. And that is not, the Fed can't fix that with higher rates. Okay. Now, if we look at shelter, this is one of the biggest factors in which the Fed has said continually on repeat down here, this gray one right here. It's been basically, it hasn't moved. You had 0.6 back in September, but it's basically been flat for like 7 months. It's just sitting still. Okay. Now, what did the Fed say about this? And we know the Fed, we know that they said, this is Fed Williams on the day, core services X housing, everything except housing, inflation is falling faster than we expected. Now I get it. You have a bunch of goobers that like, hey guys, core CPI. But again, we don't like to go inside and actually look at said data. When we have to put in a little bit of work if we want to make money in the stock market. So again, very important to realize, we know what is going to get shelter, rents, home inflation down. Cutting rates. That's what will get it down. Simple as that. And then we jump back into today. Again, jump into today. We look at PPI. It was great. It was actually beautiful. It was beautiful. It wasn't that bad. Headline PPI dropping, core slightly up, but not really that concerning. And again, the Fed goes into this saying, guess what? Inflation is dropping as expected. And what happens from, what did we say yesterday? Any amount of good news on the market would do what? It would be explosive. It would be explosive for stocks. It simply would be. Today, the Nasdaq is up 300 points. Today, Qs are up 1.6%, 7 points, and you look like you want to get another breakout. We go look at volume. Well, let's see about volume, guys. That's been the talk of, the show as of the past few days. Volume, 69 million, not terrible, not awful. We had some increased volume yesterday. Guess what? Volume yesterday was depicted by buyers stepping back into the market after we hit those lows. It's a little bit comedy. When we really get down to it, it is comedy because volume really does tell us the entire story here. Okay. Now we also go here and we can look at what's happening here in particular. But before we do that, since we're talking about trading and everything in between, if you've been investing on a basic investing app in the last few years, then I'd highly recommend graduating, leveling up, dare I say, to an investing platform that can grow you, in which my opinion is Moomoo. This is one I've been using. If you guys don't know, we're going to be at the New York Stock Exchange at the end of this month. Me, Jay, the team, right? Ringing the bell. Cool. But we're going to be able to have more events, more opportunities for you in particular. Like other platforms, Moomoo is a super intuitive user interface and it's super easy to use. I consider like a simple version of TOS mixed with like a Robinhood type platform. The fills are pretty decent as well. But unlike other platforms, Moomoo offers a suite of analysis tools up to date to the minute, while other platforms charge a premium for all your live data and things along those lines. Moomoo doesn't charge a dime. For those serious about taking their investment journey, Moomoo's platform is worth checking out. As you can see, you can use my link down below. It helps out the channel tremendously. So if you do want to support, and guys, this is who we're using for the next like year. We decided we inked the contract. We're in with these guys. We love them. This is who we're using. But going back into the data, right? We go look at volume, and this has been like the area that I keep telling you guys. Volume typically upticks throughout the week. Now, I will say volume is still kind of low for a Thursday, but what's worth mentioning is we're slowly getting back to the norm, right? We're slowly but surely getting back to the norm, okay? And that's ultimately what we want to see. I want to make that really clear. So ideally tomorrow we can get our spike, our highest close of the week. If that happens, our strongest close of the week, then I believe we're back on track and there's a high possibility of continuation to the upside. If you're also interested in Edgeful, the link is down below so you can check them out for yourself. But also too, going back into the green versus red days, back on track. Thursdays, 60% chance almost of getting green. Fridays, our highest close typically of the week when we look at close, high and low close by week. Fridays, 44% chance of, past 52 weeks to be the highest close. So continuation looks likely based on all the information that we're given. Hope you appreciate it. Again, this is just data. This is me reading the data to you. Don't attack me. Don't shoot the messenger. So again, let's jump back into it. Let's go over some equities and what we're liking here. Now, worth mentioning, DXY didn't do too much on the day. And this is another thing I've been saying though. Even though the DXY and yields continue to track up, it hasn't been the same as what's happened in the past. And what I mean by the past is if we zoom back out and we go look, back in September when they broke out, this is when we had a pretty decent dip on the market. When we started dipping, that's when the market started recovering like crazy in November. So we're not technically all connected there. So there's a part of the market that believes that, yes, we're hedging via yields, bonds, etc., right? And there's other part of the market that's like, dude, we don't care. We're not going to miss out on the opportunity that is tech, right? Because tech has been an absolute monster. And it's like, you can just see that no one wants to miss out now. And last year, everyone was like, God, we're going to crash. We're going to crash. We're going to crash. We're crashing. Dear God, we missed it, right? That's what last year was. And you can definitely see the narration here is totally different. Again, if you look at this chart, it's very simple. You are flatlining. You are consolidating at highs. What do you think is going to happen when you break out? We've gone over what happens when you break over previous highs on the SPY or Qs. You usually get monster runs. If you think this is the run, Godspeed, brother. Godspeed. Now let's go over stocks we're looking at here. Nvidia was the man. What is it? Was it the stock of the day or was it the stock of the day? So shout out to Jay Ream. Love that guy. Absolutely partner in crime. Some say I'm Batman. Some say he's Batman. I don't really argue. I just know we're both superhuman. What can I say? So again, if you look at the day, this is probably one of the better trading opportunities. Jordan has been going crazy here in the Discord. Got to give him a little bit of a shout out. He's been going absolutely crazy on Nvidia to the downside, to the upside, both ways, literally. So again, Nvidia, what did I say though? Above 924, it's a long. That's me smacking the cheeks because we get a little dirty, we get a little frisky sometimes. Above 924, it's an absolute slapper. Next up, Netflix. Netflix has been really easy. If you follow the key levels on Netflix, I you can do no wrong. I'm going to tell you that right now. So if Netflix holds 924, you look really good back into like 637, 635. But I really want to see Netflix in a 645, 644. I think highly likely. Be watching it. Keep it on the top of your radar. Big fan. Coinbase. I think Coinbase is a little... I love Coinbase. It's like a love-hate relationship. I love Coinbase because the upside is huge, right? And I'm going to show you a chart real quick. So you look at Coinbase here, you're consolidating at highs, right? You get Bitcoin, surprise, you're consolidating, pinching at highs, about to erupt with halving in like 7 days. I'm going to tell you right now, I think Coinbase is going to explode into all-time highs or near 350 at the bare minimum. That is my opinion. I think it's highly risky. It's very volatile back and forth. But what I will say, if you have $30 of downside, you have over $110 of upside. So the risk reward does make sense. That's the only thing I'll tell you here, because you have some back and forth, but I love coin. I think it's going to print. Do what you want with that information. AMD, my next one. AMD to get like, so this is bare minimum, just like, come on, get above 174.7. If Nvidia is going, I'm riding AMD as well. Keeping it simple. Come one, come all, I'm taking them all. That's what I'm doing, right? Over 174.7, I like it to the upside. Over 185, you slap your mom, you take her savings account, and you do what you got to do. That's what I got to say there. Love that one as well. Apple, I've been mentioning this one, and I remember I said, like, I love what Apple's doing. Okay, I took my breath away right there. I love what Apple's doing. But I couldn't do it with options. That's what I was saying. Shares, it's phenomenal. Shares, you got to go for it. I mean, you hit your next target around 167.5, but shares, it was a once in a this is like, you know, when Apple does these dips, it's like you buy and you get free money. You can see the volume upticking as well. This is what you wanted to see. Stagnation of volume on the dip down here. Clear breakout back to the upside. That's what you want to see. Buyers are stepping back in with Apple. If you don't know what they're doing in India as far as producing, they're separating from China. I think it's going to be major for them. I love it. Shout out to my people in India. Big fans of you guys, because apparently y'all can make iPhones better than the people in China. So again, like what you're doing there. Last two names right now. Actually three names. Robinhood. They said, Tyler, Robinhood looks trash. It looks like we're dumping. It looks grim. My positions. I know you got them for 2025, but I think my life might be over. Do what you got to do, buddy. Get out of here. Nothing to really say. Robinhood, I'm telling you right now, $25 by 2025 or my left nut is gone. It's gone. Cut it off. That's me chopping it off with a rubber knife. That's how serious I am. Target, slow and steady. It's like the tortoise. Everything else is like the hare. You got to get back above the 200 SMA here. Keep it really simple. That's as easy as it gets. 200 weekly right there. You look fine. I love Target. Once you break 181, you're pushing into $200. But yeah, last but not least, Microsoft. You're mounting back above your level that we mentioned, 427.8. You're trying to get there. You mount above and you hold above that level. You are pushing into 429, 430 with ease. That is what I love. That is what I like. I can't change what I love. I can't change what I like. It's who I am. I'll see you tomorrow.